So today's the day. It's 8:45. I got court here in 15 minutes. I'm going to go up there and, I don't know, meet with my judge, or the judge, meet with my attorney. This will be the first time I've actually met him. He was a referral from Michael Zuber with one rental at a time. If you're not following that channel, it's a fantastic channel. Great information, and this is this is the attorney that he recommends. So anyway, I got to go through this whole thing of getting in there with my mask on and all that other jazz. So I will give you an update when I get back, and you will see if I'm happy or not. I'm optimistic because she's already defaulted on everything. What else is there? She's defaulted. I'm not going for this money. I don't care about this money. I want my property back. Just give me my damn house and get on with your life, and I'm good. So, all right, I'll see you later. Hey, what's up, bootstrappers? It's Ryan Nickel coming at you, and just a little bit of truth coming at you this morning. So, on my way to court right now, I got a tenant that hasn't paid me for, right now we're working, I think, on 10 months. They haven't paid me. They started having problems back in December of 2019. They were starting to get slow to pay, and just have had issues with them this whole entire time. So anyway, finally getting them to court, and got to show up today. They already defaulted on all of the paperwork and everything that we needed them to do. So I mean, that's a good thing. The judge just wants us to show up today, I guess, to do a true up, which is basically, hey, show up with your attorney, which my attorney's like down in Southern California, so I had to pay to have him come all the way up this way. Kind of sucks. I'm like, but can't you do everything, social distancing, Let's go ahead and do that here, have him phone in telephonically, and they wouldn't do that. They're like, nope, he has to be here personally. Fix this real quick. So anyway, I'm on my way to court. Here's the lesson, though. So man, you have to run a business, and the more I get into this, the longer I do this, the more I realize that I run a business. I don't run a charity. And here's the situation here. So this, I bought a condo from a guy that was having money issues, and he hit me up probably about 6 months after we bought his condo and said, hey, I got a girl that's looking for a place, and I had a place that had just hit the market. I was going to do a rent to own. I do everything rent to own, but this one was going to be, he's like, she just needs a rental, man. And it was right across the street from his job, or like literally like a quarter mile. Like she could cross the street and walk down to the shop, and that's where it was. And the whole thing was, this is all pre-COVID, by the way. And he's like, she's a really hard worker, and I'm grateful for her and stuff like that. She's a single mom. She's having a hard time right now, and can you help me out? Give her a job, or a house that's close to her work and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, no problem, man. So I do the normal background, normal stuff that I do, and because she's low income, she's like, hey, you know what? I'm getting paid from this guy. Let's call him John. John's paying me, and I'm also low income. Can you help me out here? Can you work with me? I'm going to get some money from the county, and the county's going to pay for 3 months of rent, and then we'll work from there. Well, there was never 3 months of rent. It was, we'll pay the deposit and 1 month's rent. My deposit's basically rent double, so it ends up being 3 months. But I'm like, nah, that doesn't work, And so, here we go, and that was in July, and so she said she hits August, and she's like, I gotta go get some more money from the county. And I'm like, well, all right. And the county's like, I'm sorry, honey, we're not gonna do that for you. And so that was my first red flag. I'm like, oh man, what the heck? I just got scammed by this girl, right? So I actually have to go run upstairs into my office here and grab my ledger showing that I am negative. That's the one thing that my attorney did not have. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. Printed my ledger. Woo! So anyway, where was I? So I start to get the information that she doesn't have the money, so she has to go to the county, and she was having problems with this dude as a employer, and so he ends up, I don't know if he fires her or if she quits or if she just takes money from him and bounces. I really don't know, because it kind of got crazy. And so she no longer has a job with this guy, and she has this whole crazy story, and I'm like, oh, are you kidding me right now? So I'm like, you know what, forget it, man. So like, so she moves in July, August. She gets one more check from the county in August. September hits. They're having issues. October, she finally leaves. So now it's November, and I'm like, I can't do this. And so I'm like, you know what? I still in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a good person. I'm gonna help her. I'm gonna help him out, right? And November hits. I buy them groceries. Come to find out, she's on food stamps. She doesn't need my groceries. She's on food stamps, man. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. So I did that. And then I was like, you know what? I need someone to drive for dollars in my business, and I need someone to do some accounting, because she ran the office supposedly for this other guy's, business. I'm like, okay, she's a smart girl. Like she's aggressive and all this stuff, like aggressive, assertive. And I'm like, she can do this, So I'm giving her opportunities to elevate her and like invite her into my business and stuff like that. Okay, big mistake. I'm thinking here, and this is my mistake, right? So I'm a businessman. I'm thinking like, how can this work? All right, so I'm thinking my monthly nut on this property is $600, round numbers. Her rent is $1,100, so I'm $500 ahead, positive cash flow when she pays, when I get paid. So I'm thinking here, well, if I pay her, $1,100, I'm working this out. If I pay her $1,100 to do some, stuff for me part-time, I'm really only paying her $500 or $600, because that money is going to go to my rent. So I was thinking, like, that's where she should put it, because she has, food stamps, and she has these other benefits and things like that. And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get a good deal here. Like, who wouldn't do that, right? Hey, pay $1,000 or pay $1,100 to get $500 back. It sounds like a great deal. I'm like, I'm a genius, man. I'm a smart businessman. And so I roll into this doing that, and I learned a great lesson from her. That translates into my business today, where I have people driving for dollars for me. So I went on a couple ride-alongs with her and showed her how to drive for dollars. I used the Deal Machine app, and she had an app on her phone, so she downloaded the phone or the app. And so the way I paid her hourly, and I paid her mileage as well. So I paid her for her time, and I paid her for her mileage, and because she was poor and needed gas and stuff like that. And then I gave her a bonus on a property that I picked up. Every house we gave her a bonus as well. So she's getting plenty of opportunity to make money. And her first day, she's out there. She's only and she drove, I think, every day for 2 hours. That's like, we didn't tell her how much to drive and for how long and all that. That's just what she did. So she drove for 2 hours, and she the first day brought in 300 houses. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to relax. And then the second day was 400 houses. And then it was trickling back down to 200 and 300, but it was consistently several hundred houses a day. And at the end of the week, I'm like, holy crap, I got 1,000 houses here. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, you can't go drive down and get the whole entire neighborhood. That doesn't work for me. And here's where I'm going with this. 2 things I learned, right? So I'm freaking out, because everything she mails out, it's just postcard city, man. It's just so 1,000 houses is 500 postcards, or excuse me, $500 in postcards for me. And I'm like, oh crap, these are not motivated sellers in the least bit. I'm starting to get phone calls of people that are yeah, I heard you wanted to buy my house. How much are you going to give me? And I'm like, oh, geez, man. Those people, right? If you've gone through Tyler Austin's accelerated lead challenge or whatever it is, the automated lead gen challenge, you realize that you're just collecting data, not motivated sellers. That was my mindset back then. You know, I was only collecting motivated sellers, not data. And so I realized, okay, you know, she was going after any house that had some kind of like nastiness to it, a house that she wouldn't live in, which is funny because she lives in one of my houses and I'm not the best of landlords because I do seller financing, so I don't do any upkeep, maintenance, repairs, all that stuff. It's on them. Except for this one, I put a lot of money into it so that it would be rent ready and everything ready for her. And I'm still behind the 8 ball on that one, man. That's okay. As soon as she gets out today, because I'm going to court, as soon as she gets out, bam, seller financing this thing, man, and I'll make all my money back and then some. And plus rents have gone up tremendously, so no longer $1,100 a month. My nut's still $600 on this, and so no longer, actually that's because I'm paying the water. Once I lose the water, my nut's only, I think, $515, $514, something like that. So and rents in that for this house has probably gone up to like about $1,500 now. So it's all good. It's all good. It's a long-term perspective here. So anyway, she's doing this, and I'm like, oh, I got to teach you how to fix these houses, right? So I got a phone call from a house that I wouldn't have saw otherwise. I would not have chosen it. It wouldn't have been on my radar. Maybe it would have. I don't know. But he called me up. He's like, hey, I got your postcard. I actually want to sell my house. I'm thinking about doing something with it. He's out of area, so a landlord. Had family member in there for a long time. Just got sick and tired of being a landlord. So I was like, bingo, all right. So there was some, blessing and benefits for her just to go willy-nilly on down the thing, because she wasn't being paid for the house, or else, that would be crazy. She was being paid by the hour and for the miles that she was racking up as she's driving. So anyway, made a great profit on. Actually, I shouldn't take that back. That house is currently being remodeled. It hits the market in a week. So, but we will make good money on it. We'll do okay on this property. So it's like that's something that came out of that. Then I learned, you know what? My future drivers now. Guess what? I'm not as restrictive on them. I'm like, don't do this, don't do that, because now I'm not mailing everybody and their grandma. Now it goes through REI Sift, which I learned this from Tyler Austin. So I put everything in REI Sift. I'm just collecting the data. So I get all this data from my drivers, and it goes into REI Sift. And then as it is stacked against other lists that I have, then I reach out to that person. Then I start doing some things that are beneficial. So anyway, that's all worked out in my favor. So I had her in this position, in this role in my company, because I'm like, hey, I'm going to get some money from her, or I'm going to pay her, and I'm going to get it back, and it's going to help her have housing, and it's going to help me with my business, and all this stuff. It's going to be a win-win. That's why I try to let you know, I like to buy problems and sell solutions. And here I am, buying her problem that she doesn't have a job and all this stuff, and I'm selling the solution of like, hey, I will pay you, and you'll have your monthly rent, so you have a roof over your head, all this stuff. Well, it didn't go like that. Her car broke down. I paid for that. I fixed her car because I'm like, she can't drive. She doesn't have a car. So I took her to my mechanic. She rolls into my mechanic and starts blowing him up. She is in there cussing him out, telling him he's charging too much. She knows better. She used to work for a mechanic. That's who John used to be. And all this other garbage. And I'm like, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm paying for this. He's my mechanic. He's a family friend even. And we do a lot of stuff together. I can't have you going in there and disrupting his business. He threw her out. He's like, I can't have you in here. He lost a potential new client because she was in there screaming her head off at him, telling him that he's charging too much and she knows how much stuff costs and all this stuff. And I told her, I said, I'm paying for it. You have, this is not something that you need to be, concerned with and all this stuff. Anyway, he kicks her out. I asked him a personal favor. I'm like, dude, just bring it back so I can just fix her car. I'm sorry for all the scrap. He's like, no, dude, she's not welcome. He finally relents and says, okay, fine. She can come back. All these red flags, and I'm still trying to work with her, right? And then we go to Hawaii in February. We come back. We're just kind of catching our breath. And March comes, and I don't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, she's always been late. She's going to be good. And then COVID hit, middle of March. And at that point, she's like, oh, my gosh, I'm scared out of my mind. I think I'm going to die. I worry about my kids. And just totally playing it, right? And so just it's just been one thing after another with her. And she was afraid to leave the house because her kids were going to die. I brought her food, man. I brought her a huge old box, big old fat box. I probably spent, it was close to $200 worth of food and toilet paper. This was when toilet paper was going crazy. People could we don't have nothing to wipe ourselves with. And I'm worried about like the toilets getting clogged up because they're throwing I don't know what they're throwing down the toilet. So all those things. And I'm just trying to, do the right thing. And here we are a whole year later, and I'm down as far as revenue goes. I'm down 69.40 plus 1,100 plus 2,200 is I'm over $10,000 that I'm down in just revenue. Actual expenses, because you know what my nut is, I've explained it to you. When I fixed this property up, I dumped $7,912 into it for repairs. It needed a roof. It's a smaller house. It needed a fence. It needed a bunch of stuff. So my actual out of pocket stuff, I'm down, is I'm well over $12,000 that I'm down on this property. But the good news about it is it's a $200,000 property, and I'll probably get $20,000 down payment from somebody, depending on the condition when someone moves in. So today's the day. It's 8:45. I got court here in 15 minutes. I'm gonna go up there and I don't know, meet with my judge, or the judge, meet with my attorney. This will be the first time I've actually met him. He was a referral from Michael Zuber with one rental at a time. If you're not following that channel, it's a fantastic channel. Great information, and this is this is the attorney that he recommends. So anyway, I got to go through this whole thing of getting in there with my mask on and all that other jazz. So I will give you an update when I get back, and you will see if I'm happy or not. I'm optimistic because she's already defaulted on everything. What else is there? She's defaulted. I'm not going for this money. I don't care about this money. I want my property back. Just give me my damn house and get on with your life, and I'm good. So, all right, I'll see you later. Oh, I guess I was recording and not knowing it. So here I am, walking into the courthouse. All right, so that went well. So apparently we didn't have to do a true up. I guess the clerks downstairs don't talk to the judge upstairs, and he's like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "Cause your clerk said so." He's like, "No, he didn't have to come." So my attorney, who's from Fresno, flew up here last night to be here. Found out from him, fortunately, he has his own airplane, so he got some airtime out of me, which I don't care. We got the possession of the property, so that's the good news. So he ruled in our favor, plus damages, plus attorney fees, which, as you know, with tenants that are having a hard time paying, they don't have that kind of money, and that's just how it is. So really don't care about the judgment. Maybe someday in the future they'll pay, but right now I'm gonna be getting my property back. So that's the blessing there. So get in my car here and click you in. So that's that. Let's see here. Today is Friday. A writ of possession was awarded. I will probably get ownership. This Wednesday's too soon because they do them on Wednesdays, the lockouts. It'll probably be the following Wednesday. So what is that? That's the 17th. That's my daughter's birthday. So glad this is over. And the good news is we are going to be buying some more properties that have some tenants in there, and we go through this process. The judge is familiar with my attorney now, and my attorney is familiar with the process. I guess because evictions had been halted for some time here, that it just wasn't sure. There's my attorney. I'm going to go catch him real quick. All right, so I caught him. Anyway, yeah, this is a simple process. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I had to drag you down here and all of this stuff, because literally the judge was in and out. He was just like, hey man, boom, you don't have to be here. This is it. You got what you needed. And so, like, that was it. I'm like, all right, fantastic. So anyway, I just saw him walking out because I left early because it wasn't my turn anymore. And they're like, oh, wait for this, wait for that. And so he's like, I'll wait. So anyway, I chatted with him. He was all profusely apologizing. I'm sorry you had to come down here. Sorry. And I'm like, honestly, I really don't care if I had to come down here or not, because I got the result that I wanted. And so if it required me to be down here to get the result, then this is what I was going to do. And that was the most important thing, was the result. And I got the result. Obviously, I didn't have to, and we know this now, which is perfect, because now we can just, bam, plow these things through. It's always unknown when we're buying these properties that what's going to happen. You know, like the uncertainty, like, oh, if I buy this property, am I going to be able to get this person out, all that stuff. And just chatting with my attorney, he's like, your judge is amazing, excellent demeanor. He just is like, just get this stuff done. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and that's how it is. And so here we go. So it gives me a whole lot of confidence now when I'm talking to some of these sellers that are just like all like, oh my gosh, I don't know, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with here. This person's not paying. And I'm like, don't worry, we'll take that problem from you, because now I know I have ace in my hole. Ace in a hole? No, ace up my sleeve. That's what it is. So and he's attorney, and he's not in the area. He's not local. So a lot of the local attorneys are kind of like, I can't do this, So what a blessing that is. So getting my property back is the real benefit to me. That's what I want, and we're going to sell or finance this thing. So here comes a 3-bedroom, 1-bath on a third of an acre in the heart of Yuba City, man. So fantastic. So lessons learned. This particular tenant did not show up, and she was a lot of talk when we first served her. She was like, oh, you screwed with the wrong person. I'm not giving up without a fight. We're going to make this thing. Again, granted, it's not over until it's over. She's still in the property. Just because I have judgment doesn't mean that, things are going to go smoothly. I hope that they do, and I hope that they will. In fact, I honestly would be willing to, so right now we have a judgment for close to $12,000 against her. I honestly, for I know that I'm never going to collect that money. I would release that judgment in exchange for a clean house. That's worth more to me than anything, is the clean house, because it's like it's not that I don't have the time and the energy to do this and the money. I do, but I don't want to. Who wants to do that? I would rather just be like, hey, this is it. You know what? I will give you. You give me you deliver the keys to me in the house in nice, livable, workable condition. I will release this judgment of $12,000 and change against you, because she's a young person in her 20s that, someday when she grows up, and I say that loosely, but like when someone grows up and matures and they want to get a house and a job and all these things, that judgment's going to be there. In California, it's there for 10 years, and if I renew it, it can be there for 20 years. So and wait until her 40s. And if she's ever going to want to buy a house or something like that, she's going to have to pay that off. Or let's say she gets inherited a house. I know her family situation. There's no inheritance coming her way. But let's just say, a house falls out of the sky for her and she wants to sell it in some future day. Well, there's a judgment on her, and she's going to have to pay that judgment off. I'm just like, for me, it's the best just to go, here, I will release this judgment. Give me the house, and, call it good. So anyway, fantastic. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier. So, all right. So I guess the moral of the story is don't be afraid to hire the professionals, because I was trying to do this on my own, and when they threw COVID in the mix, and there's all these moratoriums on evictions and different precautions and stuff like that, and it's just best to just say, hey, you know what, let's just let the professionals handle this, and that's what I did. And I appreciate Michael Zuber for having the interview with his attorney, John Cadwalader. And Wallader, actually, John Cadwalader, and it was fantastic. He did a fantastic job. Could not recommend him highly enough. And that's that. Looks like my family's calling me. So just remember, guys, get out there, make some deals happen, and don't be afraid of the process. Just remember, you're one deal away from changing your entire financial future. I'm Ryan Nickel, and I'll see you later.